terms of the assurance, we know that even at the just concluded World Economic Forum in Africa, the Chinese premier actually talked about increasing development funds to Africa, and Nigeria is going to be a beneficiary. In fact, $10 billion, that's a lot. And so we're expecting to see, because they feel that there's, opportunity and there's possibility.
The opportunities are huge. I agree with Shigo on that. The opportunities are huge. There's no doubt about that. We don't even need, I want to stand to be corrected. We don't even need the so-called foreign aid to develop this economy. We have so much money in this economy that's being thrown away. I'm one of those, in the economic class, I say that, when you do an econometric analysis, you find that corruption, has a negative relationship or correlation with GDP growth. But if the money is stolen in this country, I don't advocate stealing of Nigerian, a public fund. But if at all those funds are stolen and invested locally here, you will find a situation whereby the negative correlation might not even occur. If people steal our money and they invest in capital market, they invest in infrastructure, they build factories, the tomatoes that damage every day in tons, in tons in northern Nigeria, and other products that we waste every day because we can't store them, we cannot keep them. We can invest in factories in this country, and we, able to export these things, and the pressure on this on our currency will reduce. My point is that we are always depending on the money market. Like you mentioned, the treasury bills. Those are short-term instruments that you cannot use to finance long-term assets. When you do that, your economy is bound to, fail. The Southeast Asian, the East Asian Tigers, late 90s, had a problem like that, where portfolio managers like George Soros and the rest of them brought in short-term capital, and you saw high-rising buildings everywhere in Malaysia and the rest of them. Those funds were pulled out immediately. The economy had a cough. So we need long-term capital that is there to stay, and we have that capital in this country. Remember, in economics, for any economy to develop, you must have three key things: technology, capital, and human resources.
And which Nigeria has, all three.
We have all that. The capital is, they are locked. They are not released. And when they are released wrongly. I keep saying that, until we get our focus right in this country, nothing will move. How can you, in Nigeria, be telling me that, capital expenditure budget, moved from 27% down to 23%. Yet, we're a country that's saying we are pursuing a medium-term expenditure framework where we want to progressively see current expenditure going down and capital expenditure, going up, the percentage to the total budget. But that's not happening. So we're losing focus. We're not willing to delay gratification. We're still caring about a big government. A minister will have an aide, the aide will have an aide, special assistant to the special assistant to the, all that is not necessary. The earlier we take the pain of cutting down recurrent expenditure and pushing more money into infrastructure development, the better for us.
Now let's focus on this infrastructure master plan, which was, was launched. It has an implementation period of over 30 years. And from this plan, Nigeria needs about $2.9 trillion in Naira. That's 464 trillion Naira to develop its infrastructure over the period of 30 years. Mr. Akonji, I'll come to you on this since you're head of development finance. Is this realistic?
Well, first and foremost, what is the origin of the plan? A plan, you don't just throw plans. Getting money is the most mundane if you get things right, because every investors, the wealth in the world, they shift every time people see opportunity. So I'm not going to be worried about the money, but I'm going to talk about the structure of attraction of resources. Once you're unwilling to share what it is that you are doing, you've shown us a plan, but 30 years, we've seen rolling stock plan over generations in this country. Tell me one that has worked. I thought a government would get serious and give us a 5-year framework max. We don't need 30 years because we know that once you're out of government, somebody else will come and overthrow this. So give us a 5-year plan and say to us that I'm going to focus on 1, 2, 3 first. As you can phase out infrastructure development. That's what we need now. We want to do road, we want to do transportation and do power. Other sectors will not suffer. You give them minimal investment also. But the stock of our attention will be placed on these 3 key element. Once we have these three, people are able to get on the road and create jobs for themselves. You have power, you have transportation, and you have maybe health. Once you have these three key things functional. And secondly, is infrastructures are created by devolution. You need to devolve the structure of delivering infrastructure. It's not everything shouldn't catch the attention of the federal government or the state. You should devolve it to the community level. You see in some developed environment, at the community level, people deliver certain infrastructure to their community. They gather together because they have some form of governmental recognition that helps them to deliver that infrastructure. For example, small waste renewal.
Yeah, but we have such
You
in
don't
our
have it.
communities.
You don't have it. Those are largely driven by government, state, and largely state.
Okay.
We need to empower. For example, look at the local government. There is no local government in Nigeria.
Exactly the point I was about making.
There is no local government. Just people gather together, sit down, come to work in the morning, maybe organize people that want to marry. Those are the mundane things you find in our local government. They don't work. You need to give them resources to work and give them key performance indicators that makes the chairman and the people that are the civil servant there to deliver. They don't have responsibility to the people living around them. They just come to work. They don't do anything for anybody.
Well, Mr. Akonji, just hold on to your thoughts. Mr. Udemezwe, we'll take a quick break and come back and continue this conversation. Don't forget, you can also be part of this conversation. Just send your tweets to @This Morning, or of course to my handle @HarrietAgbeyi, or you can send your contributions to businessmorning@channelstv.com. We're still talking about infrastructure development as being a key driver for economic development and of course creating jobs. My two guests will still be here when I return. Mr. Segun Akonji, he's the head Development Finance Heritage Bank, and Mr. Oji Udemezwe is the financial management consultant. They'll both be here with me when I return. Please join me again.